The spire of Accord hovered in the blackness like a blade driven through the stars. From her shuttle window, Commander Alira Voss watched the ancient crystalline structure shimmer in pulses of blue and violet, alive with energy, yet cold as judgment. She had seen it dozens of times, but the sight never lost its weight. This was the heart of the Galactic Compact, the place where civilizations rose, fell, and were judged. As the docking clamps hissed and magnetic seals locked, Kara, her AI companion, projected into the seat beside her. The form was humanoid, subtly translucent, dressed in a sleek, minimalist coat matching Alira's uniform. "You're tense," Kara observed. Pulse elevated. Jaw clenched. Alira exhaled slowly. "They're going to stonewall me again. They always do." "Not this time." She stepped out onto the diplomatic causeway, glass beneath her feet, the void far below. Delegates from hundreds of species passed around her, armored Vrinthi with their crystalline skulls, feathered Moss-Sari clicking softly, and the translucent scaled Karenian observers who watched everything and said nothing. They gave Alira space. Not out of respect. Out of memory. Inside the assembly dome, the atmosphere was thick with ceremonial formality. Rows of tiered chambers glowed with muted hues, one color for each civilization. A hovering hologram projected the Compact's guiding principle: unity through balance. Peace through memory. Alira stood in her assigned pod. A soft chime rang across the hall. "Commander Alira Voss, Terran Delegate," intoned the voice of the speaker. "You may address the Council." She nodded once. "Members of the Council, I come with a simple question. Why is humanity still barred from participation in galactic defense operations?" An audible ripple moved through the chamber. Some murmurs, some scoffs. Others just stared. Chancellor Yorexkor floated forward. Tall, silver-skinned, eyes pure black and unblinking. A Yandari of high telepathic discipline. Cold and unreadable as always. "The ban was established following the resolution of year 3083. Its purpose remains valid. Human military involvement has been classified as an existential hazard." Alira met his gaze. "Based on what evidence?" "Every species in this chamber has known war. Even the Silex, who tried to harvest stars, were reinstated. We have honored the compact. Paid our dues. Kept to peace. What exactly makes us different?" Yorex's voice was flat. "This matter is closed." "Not under Clause 17 of the Compact," Alira countered. "I invoke a crisis transparency request. Under Compact law, I am entitled to review sealed decisions if the justification poses continuing prejudice without due process." Silence. Kara whispered in her ear. "They'll vote. You may lose. I'd rather lose publicly than let them pretend this is normal." After several moments, the speaker's voice returned. "Vote initiated. Members may cast." Holographic sigils shimmered into existence across the chamber. Green, red, blue. A pause. Then a tone. "Request granted. Access to sealed files authorized under supervisory condition. Access limited to events from cycle 3021 to 3083. You will be monitored." Alira didn't smile. She only nodded. Progress wasn't victory. Not yet. Later, deep in the council archives, Alira walked through silence. The chamber was vast and domed, filled with slowly rotating data spires that shimmered like frozen waterfalls. Kara walked beside her, flickering as she accessed the archives. "Beginning search," Kara said. Keywords: Human Military Operations. Date range: Compact years 3021 to 3083. Primary focus: Final conflict records. One of the spires blinked violet. Kara gestured, and it unfurled into a cloud of fragmented data, files marked with red tags, sensor overlays, and missing metadata. "This one," Kara said. File string OP furnace. Classification level, tier black. Originally approved by Chancellor Yorex himself. Alira stepped forward, swiping through fragmented reports. There were field logs, mental conditionals, battle analytics, but they were torn apart. Entire sections were redacted. Names missing. Whole operations wiped. She tapped a log marked Harkill 9 engagement. The file loaded, jittered, and played. A battlefield. Smoldering wastelands. The sky boiled with chemical ash. A human platoon marched through the haze, calm, silent, coordinated. Their armor was scorched. Faces blackened. Still they advanced. Enemy units, Masari and Sen, retreated. Their weapons dropped. Some curled into fetal positions, hands over their heads sobbing. One human soldier paused, looked directly into a combat drone's camera, and smiled. Kara froze the frame. Emotional signature analysis. Subject is experiencing elevated dopamine and endorphin levels. Emotional state, euphoria. Alira stepped back. They enjoyed it. Their inhibitors failed, Kara added. Or never existed. Elaborate. Kara's tone dropped. All species within the compact are equipped, biologically or cybernetically, with ethical override systems. If an action violates deeply programmed moral laws, their brains lock. Muscles freeze. Decisions halt. It's an ancient safeguard evolved or engineered across galactic history. And humans? Lack the structure entirely. Or worse, are able to bypass others' inhibitors. They developed jamming protocols. Neuroinvasive triggers. They weaponized ethics. Alira stared at the frozen soldier on the screen. The ash swirled behind him like a storm. How many died on Harkill 9? Kara paused. Approximately 172 million. Civilians included. The file ended. Silence returned. Later that night, back in her quarters aboard the Spire, Alira sat staring out into space. They didn't ban us because we were dangerous, she said softly. They banned us because we showed them what winning really looked like. Kara hovered nearby. They feared that in war, humans had no line left to cross. Alira turned. Find everything on Operation Furnace. And search for one more name. Who? Dr. Kalen Triver. Kara hesitated. Your father? Alira nodded. He helped write the resolution that banned us. I need to know what he was protecting. Them or us. Kara's form flickered. Searching now. In the shadows beyond the viewport, the spire rotated endlessly, casting its reflection across the void like a blade waiting to be unsheathed. Harkill 9 burned again, this time on a screen the size of Alira's palm. She watched the footage in silence. Kara hovered nearby, its simulated breath slow, as if the AI shared the same unease. The soldier's face filled the frame. Ash crusted around the corners of his lips, but the smile was unmistakable. Not madness. Not fear. Joy. Pause, Alira said. The image froze mid-frame. Cross-reference facial records. Who was he? Kara blinked. Staff Sergeant Rendace. Terran Infantry Unit 407. Deceased. Cause of death, self-immolation during the siege of Paraxis. No recorded trauma profile. No breakdown. No breakdown after Harkill? Kara hesitated. Correction. Post-mission analysis showed elevated hormonal adaptation. Mental state classified as hyperfunctional combat alignment. Alira stood. He enjoyed it. More than that, Kara said. He was optimized by it. They left the archives at dawn cycle, spire lighting dim to the color of bruised silver. Outside the diplomatic corps, Alira bypassed her scheduled briefings. She had a new destination, one not logged in her itinerary. Torvin's Hollow was a forgotten outpost on the spire's far ring, home to the retired, the exiled, and the broken. The air smelled of rust and recycled coolant. Ancient gravity panels flickered underfoot. At Unit 134B, Alira stopped. The door slid open to reveal a room dimly lit by old lamp arrays. Walls were lined with antique metals, analog weapons, even a Terran bullet, preserved in a glass cube, labeled in 3 languages. Last shot fired. Seated by the window was Admiral Ron Kazek. His skin was scaled and dull blue, mottled with age. One eye was cybernetic, the other clouded and yellow. He didn't rise when she entered. I wondered when they'd send someone, he rasped. They didn't, Alira said. I came alone. Kazek chuckled. Still brave, these hybrids. I'm not here for nostalgia. Good. I hate sentiment. She sat across from him. No introductions. No ceremony. I saw footage from Harkill, she said. Kazek leaned back, fingers steepled. Then you saw the truth. Did you fight there? No. I was on Ryland Station, orbiting above. I gave the order to engage. He picked up a datapad and flicked it on. The screen showed a tactical feed, millions of red dots blinking out. 17 planetary hours, he said. That's how long it took them. No orbital strikes. Just ground teams. And when it was over, not one human required medical psychological stabilization. Alira leaned forward. Why didn't you stop it? I tried, he said. Then I realized it wasn't malfunction. It was evolution. They weren't broken. They were built for it. She stayed quiet. Kazek's voice dropped. You know what the others feared? It wasn't brutality. It was efficiency. You took a sacred thing, war, and turned it into a function. A math problem. You cracked every inhibitor. You found the gaps. And you exploited them until no one else could win. That's why they banned you. She looked at the bullet on his shelf. Why keep that? He gave her a long look. So I never forget the last time I thought we could survive without you. Back in her quarters, Alira stared at the screen as Kara loaded new files. Found records tied to Project Eraser, Kara said. It was hidden under fleet medical logs. Your father is tagged as a silent advisor. What was Eraser? Kara hesitated. Initiative designed to rewrite emotional memory in frontline Terran soldiers. It used directed neuroflash pulses to collapse trauma and replace it with performance feedback. Like rewriting fear? No, Kara said. Replacing fear with pleasure. Alira turned away, her breath catching. They didn't send soldiers into battle, she whispered. They sent addicts. Addicts with no chemical dependency. No oversight. Just the loop of victory and the burn of obedience. Kara pulled another file. It was locked with a security strand Alira had never seen. Encrypted with a trivarian bioimprint. Neural DNA lock. My father. Kara's voice was low. You're the only one who might have partial access. Alira touched the pad. It pulsed, then opened. A single line glowed in trivarian script. You weren't made for war, Alira. But you were made to end it. Then another file loaded. A private recording, dated just before the war's end. Her father, younger than she remembered. Sitting in a sterile lab. His voice was calm, tired. We've crossed the line. The moment we unlocked the inhibitors, war stopped being about outcome. It became about control. Humans are now the standard. The other species, Yandari, Karini, the Mahsari, they've begun copying tactics. We didn't inspire them. We infected them. If this continues, the next war will only be winnable if humans lead, or fight. I voted to ban them. Not because I hate what they are. But because I know they'd win again. And they wouldn't stop. Alira, if you're watching this, it means someone opened the gate again. Just remember, fire doesn't burn because it's evil. It burns because it can. Alira shut the screen. Silence filled the room like smoke. End playback, she said. Kara dimmed. The files implied the Compact saw war becoming a Terran monopoly. And they buried it. Kara nodded. To preserve the illusion of choice. Alira sat down at her desk. The room felt colder now. Prep a report, she said. We're going back to the council. No more games. And the files? All of them. They need to see it. All of it. Kara hesitated. If you reveal this, it won't just be political fallout. It could shatter alliances. Reignite frontiers. Good, Alira said. Let them be afraid of the truth. Let them remember. She stood, looking through the viewport as the stars passed silently across the spire's horizon. For the first time in years, she felt something ancient move inside her. Resolve. And maybe something more dangerous. Memory. The Grand Assembly chamber pulsed with restrained panic. A storm was coming. The kind made not from weapons but from truth. Alira Voss stood at the center dais, facing hundreds of species, each with their own memories of war, their own fears of what she was about to say. Behind her, Kara stood silent, blue light flickering across its form as it coordinated the broadcast. She inhaled. No speeches. No grand declarations. Just clarity. We've been lied to, she began. Not by our enemies. Not by the past. But by the silence that followed it. Screens across the chamber came to life. The footage began with a familiar image, Harkill 9, from above. Ash fields. A planet carved open. Then it dropped to ground level, human infantry units sweeping forward like a tide. No hesitation. No fear. One soldier fired a neurochemical dispersal charge that dropped an entire regiment of Vrinthi in seconds. Another hacked a Karenian command AI with a wet-coded emotional override, turning the enemy's own drones against them. The footage played in brutal detail. No voiceover. No interpretation. Just raw, unfiltered war. Some counselors turned away. Others watched in silence. A few, disturbingly, leaned forward. When the footage ended, Alira spoke again. They weren't rogue units. They weren't madmen. They were following orders. They were built, trained, encouraged to be that way. And it worked. A heavy pause. No one interrupted. Alira stepped back, letting the silence hang. Then Chancellor Yorek's corps floated forward, cloak gliding behind him like liquid smoke. This revelation, he said, voice calm, was never meant for public record. Commander Voss has violated classified compact law. She has endangered galactic stability. Humanity was banned for a reason. Then say it, Alira challenged. Tell them the real reason. Yorex's face tightened. You weren't banned because you were violent. Every species here has seen violence. You were banned because you outgrew the rules. We gave every civilization limits. You rewrote them. We fought wars to win. You fought wars to end them. And when you won, you didn't stop. You optimized. Murmurs echoed through the chamber. A Tsen ambassador stood. Then perhaps we should bring them back. A Silex representative buzzed in agitation. Madness. We outlawed the furnace protocols for a reason. A Maasari delegate clicked her claws against the rail. Would you rather lose a war, or have the humans win it for you? The chamber fractured into noise. Kara turned to Alira. 17% of voting members are aligning toward reinstatement. Alira's voice cut through the rising tension. No one's calling for war. But the ban wasn't justice. It was fear. That fear has shaped policy for over 5 centuries. We deserve the truth, and the choice that comes with it. A new feed flashed on the screen. Not from Alira. An anonymous transmission. Yorex turned sharply. What is this? The feed opened on an ancient council archive. A secret vote. Council members seated behind sealed domes, voices distorted. Motion. Humanity is to be permanently excluded from military engagements under Clause Black Sunday Reason, uncontrollable escalation capability. Psychological adaptability exceeds ethical calibration standards. Amendment. Motion carries with caveat, records sealed indefinitely to prevent diplomatic unrest. Public reason shall be irreconcilable war behavior. Alira stared at Yorex. You didn't just hide what we did. You hid what you did. He didn't answer. The chamber erupted. Factions formed instantly, species demanding an end to secrecy, others calling for deeper containment of Earth. Threats were made. Promises. Alliances shifted by the minute. Alira felt the shift not as a diplomat, but as a descendant of the very blood they feared. Yorex leaned in close, speaking only to her. You think the galaxy will thank you for this? You've made them remember the only species that never needed limits. She didn't flinch. We needed them. You just let us forget. Hours later, Elira sat alone in the observation bay, watching as diplomatic shuttles departed the spire, each carrying fragments of a splintering alliance. Kara stood beside her. Damage report? She asked. 32 member species are demanding a formal tribunal on historical suppression. 12 are requesting Terran military reactivation. 5 are threatening to leave the compact if Earth is allowed near a command terminal. And humanity? EarthGov has issued a statement. We did not seek this truth, but we will not run from it. Elira smiled faintly. That sounds like us. Kara tilted its head. Do you believe this will lead to war? I believe, she said quietly, that this was war. Just slower. Hidden. Political. A pause. Kara's tone softened. I found another file. Your father's final message. She nodded. Play it. A holovid flickered to life, her father, older now, weary. No lab. No background. Just a gray wall and tired eyes. If you're seeing this, Elira, it means you've done what I never could. I tried to protect you from the truth. Maybe I shouldn't have. The ban was our failure. Not yours. We were terrified of what would happen if humanity remembered what it was capable of. And now, maybe we need that memory. Maybe we need the fear, too. You carry both sides in you. The clarity of war. The weight of peace. I only hope you'll know when to choose one, and when to end the other. The feed ended. Just stars again. Kara didn't speak. Elira stood slowly, walked to the viewport, and stared into the dark beyond the spire. Below, on Earth, old orbital yards flickered to life. Ancient Terran dreadnoughts, long dormant, had powered on. Quietly. No weapons drawn. Just watching. Kara's voice was almost a whisper. They're waiting. For what? Elira asked. To be needed. She didn't answer. Not right away. Then she whispered, let's hope they never are.